Very cool, team. So at this point, you should have mastered your chops, your punches, and your stances, your forward stances, and your lean away stances. At this point, we have one more mini section that shouldn't take any time at all, and that'll really tie everything together. And that is our chambers. So we are going to start off with our feet together in that attention stance. We're going to step out, do it in or bend our left knee, go into that forward stance like we did last video, and chop. Now, obviously, we don't want to leave our other hand just hanging down here, but we don't want to have it, but we aren't really using it right now. So instead of keeping it up by our face like we would in regular class, like with a jab or cross, we are instead going to do what's called a chamber. So basically, let's go back to that chop. Take your hand, make a fist, almost like you're going to punch something. But we're not there just yet. Turn your wrist over and put it right up against your ribs. I'm going to come a little closer so you can see. So it shouldn't be in our armpit. It shouldn't feel super uncomfortable, but you also want to make sure it's not down by your hip because that doesn't look very professional when we're doing it in a kata. So make sure you should be able to feel your ribs right underneath your chamber as you're doing that chop or that punch. Now let's try putting those chops and punches together with those chambers. Don't forget about those stances too. Ready? Feet together. We're going to step out, go into that forward stance. I'm going to shift this way a little bit. Let's chop. Notice how my hand is in that chamber, that nice tight fist. Now, we're going to switch hands. My chop is fully extended. I'm going to switch hand, punch. And if you look, now my other hand is in that chamber. So whenever one hand is out, the other hand should be in that chamber. And then you can keep switching like this. Very cool. So now, this is the part where we get to learn our first combination in demo. We've already learned it, but we're going to add on to it a little bit. Let's start in that attention stance. Step out, go into that chop. Don't forget that chamber. Next, you're going to do a chop or punch this way. Now, we're going to stay in this stance because traditionally, we only switch stances on a punch unless we're told otherwise. On a chop, we usually stay the same. So we do that chop, we do that punch. Now, we're going to take that same hand that just did that punch, that right hand, and chop this way. Don't forget about that other hand doing that chamber. Very cool. Now, since we're doing that punch on the other side, let's switch our stance and punch. Very cool. And reset, you guys. Excellent. So let's go through that one more time. So I step out, chop, punch, chop, punch. Practice that a couple of times by yourself and don't be afraid to take it slow. Really focus on fully extending your chops, your punches, that your stances are super low, and that your chambers are right by your side. This part may not seem super exciting. It may not be the throws and the tosses and the weapons and other things like that, but this is the foundation where we can build up everything else. So far, so good in this section, team, and I'll see you in the next video.